One of the things that you might have noticed when you go to Mass and there's a bishop present is that the ceremonies are slightly different in the presence of a bishop compared with Mass celebrated by someone who's a priest. And today we're joined by Bishop Timothy, who's able to enlighten us on some of this. I wonder if you'd be able to just talk about why certain aspects of the Mass might be different when there's a bishop presiding.
I think the Mass as celebrated by a bishop wouldn't be so different from a priest celebrating Mass because a bishop is a priest. But some of the visuals, the externals might be worth looking at. So usually the bishop wears a mitre on his head, carries a crosier or pastoral staff in his hand, and underneath the mitre he wears what's called a successor and a skull cap like this one. And why does he wear those things? The mitre, or the sort of headdress, goes back to the 3rd, 4th century of the Church, when there was a link made between religious rulers and civic rulers. So it was really the headgear of the leaders of the time. The crosier is very much a sign of the shepherd and the guide of the people. So in wearing the mitre, carrying that, they're very visual, and they're not supposed to give honour to the person. They're supposed to be a sign of Christ's presence among his people. A little bit like priests wearing vestments at Mass. It's not supposed to make somebody better, but it signals that they're doing something not ordinary that requires special attire. The successor is the thing that is probably fascinating to people, because there are times when a bishop has this on or takes it off, and the rule is that you take the successor off when you're in the presence of the Blessed Sacrament. Now, obviously, it's hard to know at which point the Blessed Sacrament is present, because the Eucharistic prayer is, the whole prayer is one of making Christ present rather than just the moments around the consecration. So you'll see that a bishop removes the successor before the Eucharistic prayer begins, and he puts it back on after Holy Communion when the tabernacle doors are closed. Similarly, the rules of wearing a mitre are you usually wear it when you're sitting down or when you're standing and blessing somebody, but you remove it when you're praying. So if you ever see a bishop praying, either at the Gospel, when he's listening to the Gospel holding his crosier, or saying a prayer, he wouldn't have his mitre on then.
And then there are also certain moments in the life of the Church where there are specific occasions that a bishop would ordinarily preside at and celebrate particular sacraments as well. Could you share a little bit about that?
Yes, the main ones would be the ordination of a priest or deacon, and the sacrament of confirmation. Now, the sacrament of confirmation is slightly different because, for example, at Easter, in almost every parish around the world, priests confirm people, but that's with special permission, because confirmation is linked to the bishop, because it is linked to Pentecost and the descent of the Holy Spirit upon the apostles and Our Lady. So there is a link there as to why a bishop is the ordinary minister of confirmation. Similarly, it requires a bishop to lay hands on a candidate for diaconate or priesthood. And there are some other ceremonies. So, for example, the Chrism Mass during Holy Week would be celebrated by a bishop. And things like the blessing of an abbot or an abbess of a monastery or a religious congregation would be celebrated by a bishop.